is. It's true.
You're the manager there, so we all have to go through you to get into the building. Um, and it has a lot of haunted history. Now, has it always been haunted since like the day it was built, or has it been from some of the tragic happenings that have happened there?
Well, I wouldn't. So there's a few elements about the castle that probably predispose it to supernatural influence. You see, the original parcel of land was triangular. So this is significant because the triangular shape is historically associated with spiritual portals. For instance, we have everyone knows about the Bermuda Triangle. Um, Magicians in the Middle Ages would use something called the triangle of manifestation. And magicians today still use it when they were calling up a spirit from the other worlds to enter into reality. I mean, the triangle was a primary symbol of the goddess Hecate, the three shaped goddess of crossroads, and there are actually the Pergamon disc has a triangle in the center of it, which was either used for divination or spirit manifestation. And this is this is going back to Hellenic to Greek times. So the triangular is unusual to begin with, and then on top of that, the house is situated at a crossroads, which is also significant because crossroads are typically the meeting place of spirits. Now, if you add to it that it is adjacent to an inland sea, because the Great Lakes are inland seas, if we're actually talking about their mass and their size, then that adds another element. Because anyone who is familiar with um, historical hunting, some of the most haunted places, it's almost always near a large body of water. Now, of course, this may be due to the higher ionic charge to the water, as well as increased electromagnetic force. Now, additionally, the home was uh, created by two of the most highly esteemed architects of the age, Cudell and Richardson, and they typically designed cathedrals and churches, um, and other things like civic buildings. This is the only home they ever designed. And these esteemed architects are typically discussed in history books. Now, in ecclesiastical architecture, things like the golden mean, the golden ratio, harmonic proportions are typically used. This has a long history going back to the uh, cathedral builders of the Middle Ages. And these geometrical and numerical principles are meant to create a harmonious relationship with the spiritual realm. So there are geographical, cosmological, and architectural components to why this home is resonant with the spirit world. Does that make sense?
I was gonna ask, like, what is the stonework that it's made out of? Because it almost looks kind of limestone-ish, and there's a lot of theories that limestone like amplify or you know bring in haunted happenings.
Yeah. And I can't see anybody, by the way. Um, oh wait, let me try
I have
this.
a picture of the castle up and you guys on the sides, so depending on the device, it might be hard to see.
Oh, okay. Um, it's actually locally quarried sandstone. So
Oh,
yeah, so the sandstone is beautiful. It's good hard sandstone too. Like when I lived in Pittsburgh, a lot of the foundations of the homes there are this sandstone, but it's not the good sandstone. And so that's like the sandstone has different grades, and The sandstone the castle is made out of is a particularly hard, higher grade sandstone, and it's very beautiful. The Pittsburgh Foundation sandstone would literally like crumble in your basement, and you'd always have these piles. That has nothing to do with the Franklin Castle, but
Huh. That's interesting because it seems like a lot of the older buildings in the Cleveland area are made from that. Like there's a lot of pretty older churches and stuff.
yeah, and it's kind of rough hewn, which is pretty.
Hmm.
It's very pretty in person. It's like really a gorgeous piece. It's technically a Queen Anne home, but it's more of an eclectic Queen Anne because it has Gothic Revival, Empire, and neoclassical elements in it.
Okay. Yeah, I was just looking up on sandstone, and it's a quartz heavy type of stone. Um, with no scientific proof that ghosts exist, the paranormal lore, the quartz heavy stones like sandstone and limestone are believed to amplify or retain haunted energies.
Well, that's the
Quartz is a
quartz.
magnifier.
I would think with the triangle, the sandstone and the water and everything like that, it gives a lot of opportunity for paranormal activity.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I mean, again, like it's being designed by people who made churches, and churches are actually, unless you're getting into the Protestant stuff over there, but true churches, cathedrals, you know, Orthodox and Catholic churches are designed specifically according to principles that originally were set into place to create resonance and openness to the spiritual dimension. And so the architects who designed this home designed it with those principles. Cudell and Richardson are in the history books. They're famous architects. They're masters. And give it Mr. Tiedemann probably met them in the Clifton Gaston Allen Lodge because he was a Freemason there. And
Mm-hmm.
the Clifton Gaston Allen Lodge of Freemasons is still operative in Lakewood, Ohio. And after he joined that lodge, he became a banker, things like that. So he probably acquired his connections with them through the lodge of Freemasons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms
Now,
of the haunting thing, um, since really the second owners, the owners who came right after the Tiedemans, there were different phenomena occurring.
now, the second owners, how many owners have there been of the Franklin Castle?
I believe 13, 12 or
13.
13. Yeah, I thought it was 12, but then I looked the other day and I counted 13.
Wow. Now, the current owners, how long have they owned the Franklin Castle?
She has owned it since I believe 2012 and has put
Well,
tremendous. It's been such a labor of love. We're so fortunate to have her. She is just the most intelligent, educated, cultured person I've ever worked for. She has restored the home meticulously as a labor of love, and it's exquisite inside. Um, but when she acquired it, it was not in good shape.
I actually, me and my team, we actually went there and investigated, and I think it was like 2013, 2014, probably closer like 2014. And I remember she was already just starting up with some of the restoration and everything. And I haven't been there since, so I can only imagine the beauty inside since it's been quite a few years. That has
Yeah,
she?
that was like right after I think you were there maybe a year after she had acquired it, so you probably saw it in the raw shape.
Yeah, yeah, and it was beautiful then. It was beautiful then. And then isn't there a carriage house out back too?
Yes, there's a beautiful carriage house. It's 2 stories, um, and eventually that'll be an air. We have a B&B within the house. We have 3 rooms we offer for overnights, and eventually, once we're done renovating the carriage house, that'll be available as well.
Very nice, very nice. I never made it out to the carriage house, but I just had a very strong feel for that area more so than the house itself. Um, and it just looked really cool. So you're planning on renting that out too, or is that currently like you can go in and investigate? Well,
It isn't available at the time. It isn't available right now for people to enter because the renovation isn't complete. But it will be eventually. Once it's a monumental effort to like renovate a property this large. So
yeah,
it's taken a lot, and the inside is in great shape. But the carriage house is that's like renovating a whole another house. Really, it has like 3 or 4 rooms upstairs, and it has a couple of large rooms downstairs. So it's going to take some time.
Have you
hmm.
noticed a difference, like with the hauntings, or anybody, I guess, noticed a difference with the paranormal activity? Like now that somebody actually like really, really cares about it and is like heartfelt invested into it, like has it changed the dynamic?
Oh, absolutely. We have to be honest, right? This is one of the most haunted places in Ohio and arguably in the entire country. However, we need to dispel the sensationalistic, sort of carnivalesque, uh, burlesque that's been built around, that always ends up being built around any haunted place that's really performative and in service of the people who are looking for notoriety as paranormal investigators and ghost hunters. One
Right.
of the things that I am very much aligned with Kiara about is that we want to dispel the sort of tawdry, tacky, trashy, you know, aspect of that because that is not who we are. That is not what we do. Mr. Tiedemann was an honorable man. Uh, his family were a respected family. And yes, it is haunted, but the ghosts are not spooky apparitions that are terrorizing people. They're actually quite friendly. They're nice people. I have interacted with them, and they're kind. They're friendly. They like that people are in the home.
Oh, I
And
love that.
yeah, so this is not like and of course, I love like gothic like culture. I'm a DJ. I love Hammer horror. I'm a big fan of actual gothic, the actual German romanticism and Gothic literature and Gothic architecture. So I'm not I'm not denigrating Gothic culture, but I think it's important that to understand that Gothic culture arises from Romanticism, which is obsessed with the majesty of nature and beauty. And so the Gothic elements of the Franklin Castle are more aligned with that the classical Gothicism of beauty and elegance and things like that, rather than the sort of you know performative things we see on YouTube these days. And
It's really
um,
refreshing to hear.
yeah,
And as it should be with a lot more places.
yeah. So and the spirits are actually really just friendly and kind. They're very nice. Sometimes they're curious, but they're never like mean to people and there are so many urban legends that grow up around spaces like this. And like I give tours on Tuesdays. I did 2 last night. And when I give the tour, I'm at pains to recount the historical information in an accurate way, while at the same time, going into some of these things. We've been talking about the architecture, um, the aesthetics, the history. The owners before the Tiedemans were also really interesting. And so we like to get into all of these things. And then, we have cultural events there. Like, we had an Edgar Allan Poe reading um, last last fall, and we have tea parties there and things like that. So I think the spirits like this because these were elegant people who liked culture, the Tiedemans, and I think they appreciate the direction that Kiara has been moving the castle in, which is more in harmony with them.
Mhm.
The
So
tea parties sound like they would be a whole lot of fun, and I can imagine the type of spirits that are there. That's kind of what they used to do, so it feels at home to them when you come in and do things like that. I would imagine.
Yeah, precisely. That's it. That's exactly it.
Yeah, and I
You know,
think
like
I just say real quick too. Franklin Castle is a sponsor for Parapsychon, and I want to thank you for that sponsorship. The Franklin Castle was kind enough to give us a free um, tour of the building for us to raffle off. So you guys are also very, very generous too with the local organizations, and we appreciate that.
well, we care a lot about being productive members of the community. We care about the greater community of Cleveland a great deal. We're part of Cleveland history, and Cleveland is part of us. And we also really love Ohio City. It's a beautiful area, and we're honored to be part of it. And responsible stewardship involves participating in the community in a constructive way.
So I have the three picture trio up, where we got the Franklin Castle in the middle. The family that is on the left, is that the original builders? Is that the building family? And is
That's
it the
right.
Tiedemans on the right?
Yeah, and those are their children.
Okay. Now, when you say they get curious sometimes when people come in, like what are some of the friendly paranormal things that happen when people are in the
Well, so I had a fellow. My favorite thing just happened. So I'm a professional tarot reader. I had a little event there a few weeks ago, and I had a couple of just absolutely spectacular readers come down from Detroit. And I had the tour. I did some tours after. So these sisters are twins, and for people that know, twins often have psychic gifts. So they stayed in the master suite, and they stayed overnight and read at the fair, and then also explored Cleveland. So I hadn't told her much about the history because I saved that for the tour. And she had awakened the next day and was came downstairs and was like, "Hey, Michael, I had a really interesting dream." She's like, "I was dreaming that there was an older man sitting in a chair in the room reading, and that there was a little girl playing on the floor near the foot of my bed." I was like, "Oh, that's very interesting because the master suite used to be the library, and the little girl in the home has been visiting people since at least the 1960s when the Romano family lived there." So her dream was more than a dream. She very accurately interacted with the spirits, and she, of course, had a dream of a very warm family situation with Mr. Tiedemann reading to his little girl, which is exactly what had been happening in the library, which is the master suite, and she didn't know it was originally the library. You know,
Hmm.
a couple of weeks before that, I had a fine gentleman visiting from Colorado, and he woke up in the morning and told me, "Yeah, I dreamed of a middle-aged woman standing at the foot of my bed, curiously looking at me." And I was like, "Oh yeah, that was Mrs. Tiedemann. She does show up, But he was this fellow's he. We had a long conversation when he arrived. He's naturally psychic, and we talked about his experiences growing up and things. So he definitely dreamed of her. And again, they hadn't taken the tour before he had the dream. So it's not that I had told him about her appearing to people and his subconscious mind produced the experience, which is entirely possible for people.
Now, have people been able to catch like on film or EVPs when they're there, or is it more of kind of like subtle? You weren't really looking for it. You weren't running tape or anything like that.
Some people, some people have reported having success with those things. Personally, I like EVP. I think it's really interesting. I lament the loss of my EVP box set that I had in the 90s on CD. It really hurts that I don't have that anymore. It was a German import and I paid for it. But so I do believe in EVP, but I do treat those kinds of things with a grain of salt for a few reasons. Number one, often people don't take into account the possibility of their own psychic energy influencing these instruments. So, as a tarot reader, for instance, when I'm a teacher also, and so when I teach my students, one of the things I teach them is if you're reading, hi Maddie, if you're reading, um, and you're emotional, whether you're excited or depressed or the opposite, the cards produce psychic feedback and will reflect your emotions rather than an accurate representation of events. These instruments are somewhat subtle electronic tools, and so if a person is very excited and has the expectation that they're going to perceive ghosts or spirits, sometimes these tools will act as feedback mechanisms that reinforce their expectations rather than actually indicating the presence of psychic phenomena. So if you have somebody that has natural psychic gifts and they're not remaining baseline level calm while using these instruments may not actually be picking up. It's kind of like this with so called gallery readings. Many gallery readers aren't actually mediums, they're just people with a certain amount of low level psychic ability who are able to tap into the subconscious expectations and thoughts of the people in the audience and then reflect that back to them.
I would love a debate with you and Gregory Nicholas on that.
Well, I think Gregory's the real deal, though. I think Gregory's real. He's a real medium. But I'm happy to do it anytime you want. Me and Greg are supposed to interface
I want to
anyway.
be included.
He's had the patience of a saint, but you have to understand, I'm coming from a background of, you know, voodoo, ocha, things like that, which I have people I'm very close to. I've been involved in some of these things. And so mediumship and spirit possession in these traditions is much closer to what was occurring in the heyday of Victorian spiritualism, where there's actual possession with the spirits possessing people and speaking through their bodies. So when you compare that with somebody who's just saying, "Oh well, there's a man in the room. Who is it? Who knows a man?" You know what I mean? It's kind of vague. Compared to when you see somebody like literally chewing glass and drinking rum filled with hot peppers and not having any physical injuries, and then telling somebody about some kind of seedy skeletons in their closet that they don't think anyone knows about and how they need to get that under control and correct it. So you know what I mean? Like it's very hard to take that kind of thing seriously when you've seen spirit possession that's so dramatic. But then
Yeah.
there's good gallery readers that are genuine mediums too, and I respect them. And Greg falls into that category.
Yeah, we would definitely have to do that one live. Um, and like Kathy, I was gonna say, have the whole feedback for psychic ability, because I know you guys have a couple skeptics, so I feel like that's even more important to have skeptics on the team.
Absolutely. And, I wanted to kind of talk a little bit about what you're saying about the equipment and everything. And I do agree with quite a bit of that. There are ways that the stuff can be manipulated through energy because we're all energy. There's energy everywhere. And if you have very strong energy, you can manipulate it. I do believe that. And then as far as the ghost apps, not apps, shoot, what's it called, Kayla, where you spins through the radio stuff.
Yeah, my brain's going with that too.
Spirit box.
Yes,
like the spirit box and stuff
and there
like
are
that.
apps for that. There's tons of apps for that now.
Yeah, and okay, if you have the spirit box, yes, it is running through and picking up words and things like that. But then you also have like the Ovilus that it is throwing out words. But I also question it because is there a GPS? Is that GPS throwing out words that are located to the area, like let's say, for example, Ohio State Reformatory, oh, prison, oh, jail, oh, cell, so is it a GPS that is actually pulling in that information? However, the one thing that I have found, and this is just me, that it's questionable. Like there's no absolute proof that it could be something like that, and that's with an EVP, an electronic voice phenomenon. We even thought that is it a possibility because you're not hearing that when you're recording, but when you review it, there's voices there. Is there the possibility that it's somebody on the other side of the earth and the voice sound is actually traveling and then coming on your recorder? I mean, there's so many things it can be, but what I question is, but when it's answering your questions, how can it be something from the other side of the earth? Very clearly we've had EVPs of where did the questions, where's the rest of that group? And you get a response that says they already left. How do you question that? How do you manipulate that not knowing they already left? So for me, EVPs are the most common thing, and it's very hard to debunk unless you make yourself completely. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm getting on my soapbox. Unless you're completely aware of your surroundings, like when you're doing EVP sessions, you should be like, oh, the neighbor's dog is barking. Oh, I heard a scream outside. Yeah. That way, when you're reviewing it, it doesn't sound like it's something. So for those ghost hunters out there that are planning on going to the Franklin Castle and you are planning on doing EVP sessions, it's very important to be aware of your surroundings and the sounds and calling things out. My stomach growls, things like that. Now, as far as pictures, I struggle with pictures mainly because of AI, filters, and the apps that can manipulate the stuff and everything like that. Pictures for me is documentation. Would you agree with all of that, Kayla? I mean, because you're an investigator too.
So I feel like there's definitely truth to like things can be manipulated. Just throwing a personal story there. A few years ago, I was working with somebody out in near Dayton area in Ohio, but from Lockport, New York. And what our thing was if I'm doing distance healing work for somebody or remote viewing for an investigation, there's times that people can pick up our energy, right? They can feel us, they can feel the hands-on thing, even though we're not near that. So yes. The team that I worked with on and off from there, they decided one night they got together there at just somebody's house, not like an actual like active paranormal location, right? They just got together at a house, hung out. And then they asked me ahead of time, right? We're going to set up all this equipment. We're not going to tell you where we want you to do this, this, and this. And they would say, like, go to this person, go to that person. So, like, me remote viewing was doing that, and it was setting off so they used all different equipment, right? And I don't remember what order everything was in and who had what by them. But they were actually able to, like, I was actually able to, like, have my energy be by them. So, I mean, it's definitely possible, too, if you're working with a remote investigator or if somebody wants to meddle with you, because we've all met those people too, right? That want to meddle with whether it's an event or healing, whatever for somebody. But that was definitely a really cool experiment that we did where you can show that you can definitely manipulate as a human, right? But my actual energy was being tracked by them, not spirit, right? Not ghost, not anything else. It was me actively going to them, and they could tell where I was touching them too. Like they had stuff by their feet, they had things up by their head. So, I mean, it definitely shows that you can manipulate things, because if I wanted to be a jerk, right? I could be like, oh, such and such team is going to investigate this location. I'm going to do this, this, and this there, which I would not do, but it shows that you can absolutely manipulate the equipment.
That's really interesting, because I remember that we had a team member that if she was by like REM pods and things like that, they would go off.
Yeah, so I really do that too. I get kept away from them because I tend to make them go just my natural energy field, unless I tone it down. Like Melissa, unless we like really tone our stuff down, we either push everything away or set everything off. So
now, Michael, what would you say is the most common piece of evidence that people do get there?
Oh, I mean, like it's all really consistent. We're talking about things that like over the years have really, that's one of the most remarkable things about the castle is the spirit interactions have remained consistent over decades. Um, like there's a people have often heard the sound of a child in the home. And the Romano family, they had two children that interacted and played with this little girl when they lived in the home for years, like as adults. And later on, they lived there in the late 60s and early 70s. And then later on, when the twins, they were fraternal twins, um, uh, as adults, they remembered this and spoke about this at length, you know. And this little girl, you know, people hear her. I mean, and I'm talking, I'm there every day pretty much, and I check people in to our B&B rooms, and people consistently have, some often have experiences like that. Other experiences sometimes they may hear people walking upstairs on the top floor when there is no one there. I don't want to give away too much because the mystique of the castle is important to us, but the consistency is amazing, especially as a person who interacts like every week with new people who are staying there. And then in the mornings, they'll tell me, all kinds of interesting things, hearing voices in the hallways, um, hearing a child's playing in the house, having dreams of the lady of the house. Um, there's so much. It's really just super interesting. But one thing I will say is that it's never like there's never the sometimes hauntings can be scary. Like, I mean, my mother encouraged my proclivities for good or for ill in this regard, so I was reading every book on ghosts, hauntings, unusual, inexplicable phenomena I could as a child. Like, I read everything I could find. And one thing we find is that there are hauntings where there are resentful earthbound spirits who do terrorize people. And so the remarkable thing to me about the castle is how these are not those kinds of spirits. They're actually kind of social and friendly and interactive. And another amazing thing about the castle is so frequently when people stay there, they report feeling energized and excited after they've left. Like they have been juiced up, like their batteries have been recharged. And that's another thing that's like, unusual in some regards, because a lot of haunted places have the opposite effect on people where they feel drained and depressed after going there. But the castle is like I think it's partially Cute Alan Richardson creating it according to harmonic principles. I think it's also the fact that the spirits are there, friendly, and love seeing that people love the place. I think it makes them happy because it was their home and they loved it. And but for one reason or another, it's this unusual thing about the castle that makes people feel enlivened.
Well, it sounds like there's a lot of disembodied voices and things there, which is really cool when they have
It
those
is, yeah.
And I think because the castle has such a warm feel, and like you've been describing the past owners and everything, the love that they had is kind of the energy, which is probably why people feel good when they leave, because it was all such a good positive feel to it. I mean, the building
Absolutely.
itself, it's just an amazing, amazing building.
Oh, it's exquisite. It's like a dream come true for me to be there. I'm in love with it. I adore it. I often lament my deceased mother, my mother passing, because she would have been absolutely thrilled if I was working there and would have found a way to insinuate herself into the situation. I acquired my inclinations from my mom, all of them, these gothic inclinations I have, as well as my psychic gifts. So,
Now,
huh?
how close is the castle to Riverside Cemetery?
Oh, it's really not that far. I mean, maybe it's an easy drive. You could probably do it in like 10, 15 minutes, I'd say, on a
Oh,
busy day.
great. Hang on,
Hi,
Greg. I
Greg.
gotta come back to you because
Hey,
we might
Greg.
get you into something. And the reason why I asked about Riverside, um,
But let me look it up on Google Maps.
I've also, while you're doing that, I got a question about time there. Like, is overlapping time, missing time, that kind of thing?
Well, hang on. Linda has a story that ties Riverside to Franklin Castle. Did a ghost walk through Riverside Cemetery, and the story was that Mr. Brainerd and Mr. Teeterman are buried in the cemetery. In fact, I believe that they bought the land for the cemetery. The story goes that there was a gentleman standing outside the gates by Riverside Cemetery looking for a ride. He was dressed in the clothing of that time. Somebody stopped to give him a ride, and when they asked him where he needed to go, he said to the Franklin Castle. When they turned around, he was gone.
Yes, I have heard this story. Yep, I have heard this. Uh, it's really interesting. And this is just one of a myriad stories like that of this nature. You know, Cleveland is an amazingly haunted city too. I mean, we're this. I've lived all over the country. I've lived in the Northwest Coast. I've lived in the South. I've lived in New England. I've lived in New York. I've lived all over Pennsylvania. And Cleveland is actually one of the most haunted cities I've ever been to in my life. There's a strange metaphysical paranormal aspect to where we are that is inexplicable to me. I've been to larger cities that do not have this level of psychic energy. There's something very special about this. And we have to keep people that are annoying away and not let them find out about this great secret we have, you know?
They also
Just let
carry
the
the
good
Great
people.
Lakes that were right on that helps. So
That's what I think too. I think it's the Great Lakes because water and psychic energy are two forms of one thing.
yeah.
We're haunted by ghosts and sports teams that can't perform well under pressure.
Us too. Though sorry, but the Bills are a little bit better than the Browns. Sorry.
Just about anybody's better than the Browns at this point.
Right.
There's always next year. Greg, if you're still hanging in there, we have a possible live debate idea.
Yes.
How
Possible. I
good
think it's
gallery
happen.
reading versus mediocre psychic ability, kind of reading the energies of the room. And I'm like, ooh, I would love to get Greg's take on that. So we'll have to see when you're available, Greg, for a Wednesday morning. Greg says, I think it has to do with all the tunnels that are under the city because the Soldiers and Sailors Monument is also haunted. And it's the architect for the Ohio Reformatory also built the Soldiers and Sailors Monument. I think Ohio in general is high on that list, on the haunted list. Yeah.
It is really, yeah, it really is. But I think Cleveland's at the top of the Ohio list.
Yeah.
I mean, but we have so much. We have the Great Serpent Mound, literally like
I'm wanting to go there.
a Stonehenge level psychic. I mean, I've been to the Great Serpent Mound a bunch of times. Actually, the second time I was married there, and it's amazing. Like you sit on. I'm just gonna be like open about this. When I go to the Great Serpent Mound, if I sit there, I start getting really horny because the biological energy rising from the Great Serpent Mound is so intense. You know, the libido is both on the lower chakras it's sexual, but in the upper chakras it becomes psychic. And so when I'm sitting there and I feel that way, I raise that energy through my energy body, and then the psychic perception is like super amplified. So like we're in this really weird landscape in this state where there's like all of these. We have the inland seas of the lakes, and then we have like the geological formation and the mound builder cultures here as well. There's just so much going on in Ohio, and it's so like people from outside Ohio don't understand this about this. This is maybe the paranormal nexus of the country.
Oh, I think Melanie is going to want to debate that one. She wants you to come back, but she is a friend down in Savannah, and she's like, not as high on the haunted list as Savannah.
I have immense respect for Savannah, and I'm really sorry that they're second place, but I mean, it's
oh, mic drop. Here we go. That's right, Greg. You're out traveling. Oh, you're in Kayla's area.
Oh, hi. You're around. I don't know how long you're around for, but if you want to catch up, I catch up with you.
Linda mentioned the tunnels underneath. That's something I talk about in my tour of the tunnels. That's a whole other fascinating subject. There is ghost phenomena associated with the tunnel underneath the castle. The carriage house has a tunnel underneath it. Now
Okay.
there's two debating positions about the tunnels under the castle. I've researched this, and see, the issue is Mr. Romano in the 60s ended up closing off the entrance to the tunnel because of a paranormal situation that happened there. But um, one set of records indicates that the tunnel goes all the way to Lake Erie and also connects over to a local church. This to me is actually more plausible. Another perspective on it is just that it's a access tunnel to the gas, and it's much shorter than that. I actually don't think that's accurate because, like, several port cities have tunnels like this that were the very old port cities. Like Portland, Oregon has a bunch of tunnels. We already have all these other tunnels in Ohio City, even like the Ohio City, what's it called? Organization isn't the right. Anyway, they retain sort of like control over people being able to enter the tunnels, so they don't usually let people down there, which I find disappointing. But there are all these tunnels under Ohio City already. So why wouldn't the tunnels under the castle connect to those? And then, yeah, Soldiers and Sailors Monument also has the tunnels. And like these tunnels in these cities are often used for shipping. A boat would come in, like, all of the cargo would be brought through the tunnels into basements of businesses and homes and things like that. I mean, New York's, I appreciate that opinion. That's a really interesting idea that you're sharing. Sorry that it isn't correct, but I mean, um,
I feel like we need to have like boards going of all the haunted
We need a
locations.
tally.
yeah,
I think if you took out the state lines, right, this whole area from like you guys all the way up here, like through Erie.
Nope, we
Uh-oh.
lost her. Froze up, Kayla.
No. Yeah, your mic
as
went
soon as
out.
she said
Oh,
Erie, she froze. So Erie wanted to jump in the chat.
Right. Am I back?
you're
You are.
back.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you took away the state lines, right, the Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York state lines, if you go that whole channel all the way up along Lake Erie, the Niagara River, Lake Ontario, and I'm right between Lake Erie and Lake Ontario, like right by Niagara River. But I think if you took apart those state lines, that would be like the most active area, right, in the whole country, well, probably North America, that whole
Oh,
stretch there
totally.
going up along that.
Yeah, totally. That's definitely. I think that's a really insightful point. It's because it's the water.
Yeah.
Like if we go to Europe, it's the same thing. Old castles near like giant lakes. In New England. Now, anybody that's close to me gets a little tired of me mentioning Dark Shadows, which is one of the greatest shows ever made in the entire history of anything. Barnabas Collins is a legend. But of course, everything in Collinwood, which looks like the Franklin Castle, um, is Collinwood's right on the water. It's literally right on a cliff near the water. It's not. They did that on purpose because it's like a Gothic manor right by the ocean. I mean, there's really is something to the water connection with hauntings.
I love it.
Can we go back to the time topic?
Yeah.
Oh,
I was
I
like
don't
picking
really,
up. I was like, I feel like there's like a lot of things that happen with time there, so I kind of want to hear more about that if that's okay.
I haven't had anyone report anything to me about that, but I have experienced it myself. I mean, I'll be there for hours and I will think I'd only been there, like, an hour or something. Like time passes very quickly in the castle sometimes. Um, and again, it's like you close your eyes and you blink your eyes and then like time has passed and you don't even realize. Now, I just had attributed that to my loving it so much because I just love it so much. It's hard not to love the castle, honestly, but I have also been somebody who's experienced time distortion in different places that I've been in my life. So I do think you're onto something with that, but I haven't personally had any guests report that particular thing to me.
Do you think that's a thing? So I noticed that a lot at places. Even we have land about an hour and a half from where I live, but I experience it, and other people are just kind of like, "Oh, you were only gone for 20 minutes." I'm like, really? Because it feels like I was gone for like a really long time. Like, and other people don't really have the experience. So I guess there must be some of us that are just more sensitive to that, or even like investigating at locations where things are different for people involved. So
Well, so in my training as a hypnotist, one of the things I learned is that we're always going into and coming out of trances, and everyone's always in a trance at all times. So when you're a hypnotist, it's really easy when you kind of understand that we're always in trance, that you're actually not putting people into a trance, but you're actually guiding them into deeper states of trance that they're already in. And in trance, you can speed up time and you can slow down time. So I think that people who are sensitives have a natural ability to go deeper into trance. And when you go deeper into trance, sometimes one of the side effects of being in a psychic trance state is the acceleration or slowing down of time. Sometimes, if I'm enduring something that's unpleasant, like, I don't know, sitting at the BMV or something, um, or waiting at the doctor's office, I'll put myself into a trance to try and speed time up so that I don't have to deal with waiting. Because one of the design flaws of this reality is that things that suck take a long time, and beautiful, wonderful, happy things pass way too quickly. If they would just give me a chance, just on a temporary basis, to redesign reality, I think I could remedy some of these things. We need happy things to last long and bad things to move short. But if you go into trance, there's a way to do that yourself. And so if you can engage in auto hypnosis, then you can experience that. But I think it's a side effect. Like, sometimes when I'm reading cards for people, it's like that. I've read like large events where I've read for hundreds of people, and yet it seems like I was only there an hour when I'm done. And I can't even remember half the things I said because I went into a trance state and it was just all coming out. But then I think, how did 8 hours just pass? It seems like I just got here.
Yeah.
And yes, my cards in the store on Wednesdays and some random Saturdays, Sundays here and there. And part of our wine and spirits. So, Kayla, if you ever make it in town for another wine and spirits, you can meet Michael.
Should I give you the weekends? I'm actually it's the first weekend of September. That weekend, I'm always gone. Like, I have like a standing obligation, like literally for like 25 years now. So I if you could just meet the following weekend, it would work.
I think it is, isn't it? I think it's the second
weekend of the 6th or the 12th, right? No, 6th.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's September 12th, second Saturday.
Yeah, so the second week. Yeah, that's the weekend that I'm always for at least 25 years now. I've had a standing obligation that weekend, of course.
Now, Michael, we have a gentleman coming in on the 24th, William.
Oh yeah, William is a delight.
How do you say his last name for me?
Great. Sorry.
Yeah, she said it.
Krejci.
Krejci. Okay, because I'm usually good at certain names with consonants when there's a bunch of them, and I'm like, this one's short, and I'm not even sure where to go with this. But okay, so he's going to be in signing books. He does a lot of haunted tours around Cleveland. He's like one of the OG haunted tour guides, but he has a book on the Franklin Castle. Do you guys keep that in stock there for people to pick up? Or
we sure do. Yeah, we do. And Bill, I have to say, is just such a fountain of knowledge. He's always such a pleasure to speak to. It's just amazing. I learned so much from him, and he's a very talented guide to any place he's giving a tour to. You want to go on Bill's tours. He's amazing. He's also just a really nice, good person.
I'm excited to get my hands. He's got a book about the lost and recovered cemeteries in the area, and can't wait to get my hands on that one. So any of our friends who aren't local that can't come for the book signing, shoot us a message. We can get him to sign it for you and drop it in the mail so you can get an autographed copy, because I'm a snob for books and signed books. So we'll make sure to get you signed copies.
When did you say Bill's going to be at the store, Melissa? What date?
The 24th, starting at 6, because he's like, I can come after work. And I'm like, 6 o'clock it is. And if we end up having to stay open a little later to get through all the friends that want to see him and everything, then we will. So we'll have his books available. We may do a little bit of a live discussion with him while he's there in between people, if we can, to talk about his books. But love supporting local authors, local people, local business. So he's a real human that you get to go on a ghost tour who is from the area that he's touring you around. Because I know there's been some debate, and I know, Kathy, you've seen it in the paranormal community about certain big box companies coming in and trying to take over the whole touring industry and undermining the local people. So
We need to go to war with them. Let's
Put them
get
in
our
their place,
witches.
Melissa.
Let's get our witches. Let's get our witches together, and we'll force them out.
Yeah,
yes,
we don't allow those companies, believe it or not, Melissa. I don't know if you know that. We do not allow organized tour groups
Burn
to
them at the
rent
stake.
clothing.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
not playing. We're
and
not
for
playing
that
that
reason,
little. We're not playing the little games. They're not coming.
yeah.
so support Bill, support his books, support his tours. If you want to tour a Franklin Castle, please do it through Franklin Castle. Does Bill do a tour through Franklin, or is it just you guys?
Yeah, it's me and Bill and I do tours, and
Okay.
you know, they both have a different flavor. You know, um, and they're both amazing. But Bill is just like, I cannot believe how knowledgeable this man is. Like seriously, he's like a walking encyclopedia. It blows my mind. Bill is amazing. Like I can't say enough good things about him in that way. He is just such a fountain of knowledge. Not just
Mhm.
about the castle, about cemeteries, about other haunted things. He's going to be doing these haunted tours with the bus in the fall. I want to do all of it, like because I just learned so much from him. He's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. I was going to say, now you keep talking about tours. What type of tours? What are there? Is there a variety, and when do you offer
We'll
them?
start with Bill's. So Bill does two tours. He does the haunted history tour, where he goes more into the history of the castle, and then the other tour he does is called Friday Night Frights, where it's a little bit of like a fun ghost hunt. People can stay the night, and he does those not every Friday, but periodically. And so those are two. He does them in two kind of different styles. My tours are on Tuesdays. It's tea tarot tour. So you got a nice little tea service with me. You got a one
Oh,
card tarot reading at the end of the tour, and I go into a combination of the architectural elements, the history of the castle, the spirits, but I also go into the metaphysical aspect with the nature of, we also discuss in depth what are spirits, what are ghosts, metaphysical aspects of things, because I'm a practicing esotericist and occultist, so I bring that to it. And, whereas Bill brings the heavyweight levels of history, and I go deep into the history too, but I'm not going to pretend that I am have the encyclopedic knowledge that Bill has. I have an excellent knowledge of the home. I study it every day, but those are the contrasts, and so people love both, and a lot of people go on both of our tours because you're going to get different things from each of us.
I like
Melanie,
that.
I can get you Marianne's books. It might be a little while. She just had some stuff go on, nothing bad, but she's doing well. Um, but thanks for joining, Mike. I'll actually see you here in like an hour or so, a little less than. Kathy, you're still available through the store, but almost by like pre-book. Um,
Correct.
and I find it funny that you're like, I need to step back. I'm working on this. And like, I think you're more busy now on the Tuesdays of people wanting you than when you were there every Tuesday. So,
Yes, fact, and that's good. I'm not complaining. Please keep booking. I enjoy what I do.
I should
and at
come on
some
a day
point
when
we'll
you're
get,
there. During the
yeah,
week, weekends are just not working for me. I'm like, I think I have weekends free in January. Um, but I should come when you guys are around so I can actually see you.
yes, yes, exactly, Linda. She's like shop local and the bus tours are great. So, some good reviews from local people on Bill and his
And we got to
book.
work in the woo woo bus, the woo woo Wednesday.
Right. Yeah, I know for years, like when I was still doing lives with Marianne, I'm like, I'm going to get an old school bus and we're going to call it the woo woo bus and go around and visit all the tour things. And well, it's still on the list of stuff to do. And that's why Melanie's like, when are you coming to Savannah?
We can do a hayride. It might take a while. I can bring my tractor and the trailer, but it's going to take me a really long time to get there and a long time to take the tours.
Right.
I've only been to Savannah once when I was a kid, and I've always wanted to go back and really thoroughly experience all of that. I've read about it, but never experienced it. Like, oh man, I just really want to experience like the second most haunted area.
I feel like we got to get Michael down. That we need Michael, and we
Oh my
need
gosh, Savannah is cool.
A table and just debating, and we just live stream it and see how this goes.
I'll do it. I don't care. I'll do it. But also, if I'm wrong, I'll admit I'm wrong. But
like Goddess Elite closed for 3 days because we're in Savannah doing a debate. We're all down there watching.
I'm in.
You got paranormal debates.
But I remember it is so beautiful down there. It's so hard to leave because it's just like so lovely.
Yeah, I was only down there like in Mobile once for an ex-husband, and same ex-husband picking him up for Fort Benning when he graduated boot camp. So I don't have much time in Georgia, but was pretty the little bit that I've seen.
Mine was the other side in the mountains, so I'm not. Oh no, I had to go see the horses, and then over to the mountains. So yeah, no Savannah for me either.
We're debating early is the most. But thanks for joining, guys, and we will be back next week with Lauren, the Ghost Pod creator. She's popular in the area for her little like ghost REM pods because they're pretty, they're crystally, and she's gonna be back. So we'll see if we can keep her on topic about ghost pods and haunted things and maybe some witchy stuff, because I think we were on astrophysics and science and space, which I'm all for as well. But I'm like, well, there went that topic. We're not even doing it. We're just we're doing what Lauren wants.
She's an equipment innovator, creator, the crystal pods and many other things, as a matter of fact. But she wanted to come on and not talk about that because she's always talking about it, in other areas, and kind of got sidetracked. Let's try and reel her in a little bit on the woo-woo too.
Yeah, her squirrels wanted over here, even though we planned here. So we let her run. But hopefully you guys can join us next Wednesday to welcome Lauren and whatever topic we can keep her on track with. But have a great day. Stay cool if you're in the area of the heat wave, because it sucks outside. Unless you love it. I know.
Well, all right, thanks, guys. Everybody. Much appreciated.
Yeah, and hopefully, Michael, we can rope you in. Maybe we'll talk about some possession, voodoo, how all of that works, and some paranormal stuff. Like, do you use it when you're investigating? So we'll see everybody next week.
All right.
Okay, bye everyone.
Bye.